I was sitting in the back, and that's why I got a better look at him. Because as he was shooting, it was such a shock. I was just standing there. I couldn't believe. I thought it was something like a toy gun with blinks or something.
Was he down the front or in the middle of the congregation?
But after he shot, I seen some people falling. Then I knew. I said, yeah, he's shooting for real. Then this gentleman says, fall to the floor, and I fell and started crying. Everyone started falling and crawling.
Where was he located?
He was located on the right side of the pulpit.
He went directly to the front of the church?
No, he stood up and just started shooting.
He was sitting down near
He was
the front.
sitting, that's right, and he just stood up and started shooting.
Did he shoot up toward the choir? And
He was shooting everywhere. He was shooting like this. He just shooting like that.
Where was Mr. King seated?
Person in that legacy, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Tonight, 11 Alive's Naima Abdullahi brings us the story of the woman who raised him and pushed him toward a lifelong commitment to serve others.
She was the First Lady of Ebenezer Baptist Church and the First Lady of her community. Alberta Williams King is a name deeply woven in the fabric of what makes Atlanta, Atlanta.
From the bottom up.
Her last moment alive was in the same church she grew up and raised her children in 6 years after the murder of her son. June 30th, 1974, Alberta Williams King was shot while she played the organ during a Sunday service inside her safe haven. The man responsible was later arrested.
She was playing, ironically, the Lord's Prayer when she was killed.
As a devoted wife, mother, and church member, she was the glue for Ebenezer Baptist Church. She was college educated, leading the choir, playing the church organ, and serving as a proud member of the NAACP and several organizations that focused on social justice. A yearning desire to not gloss over her legacy so the world never forgets the First Lady of Ebenezer, the centerpiece of Sweet Auburn.
This story could be inspiring. This story of who Alberta Williams King was, and what she represented to her family and to the community.
Mrs. King's life was deeply rooted in her faith and activism. Her father, husband, and both of her sons were all ministers at Ebenezer, where she played an integral role until she retired in 1972. The King matriarch would often return to lead the church in song. Ironically, Ebenezer Baptist Church, just a few blocks away from where her son Martin was buried 6 years prior, was where Mrs. Alberta Williams King took her last breath. Her death was classified as an assassination. The man who carried out the heinous act was 23-year-old Marcus Wayne Chenault. Born on June 30th, 1951 in Winchester, Kentucky, Marcus magazine that Chenault told him that he would soon be all over the newspapers and that he was going to Atlanta to meet destiny. On Friday, June 28, 1974, Marcus Wayne Chenault returned home for what seemed to be a routine visit. According to Marcus Sr., Wayne seemed as normal as ever. That night, Marcus stole 2 pistols from his father's bedroom. The next day, he bought a bus ticket to Atlanta, Georgia. After a 12-hour trip, Wayne had made it to his destination, where, according to a taxicab Columbus apartment, officials found a list of 10 names that he intended to kill. Along with Reverend Abernathy, Aretha Franklin, and civil rights leader Jesse Jackson were among the names on what he called the death list. According to the New York Times, police also found an unused bus ticket to Chicago, where Jesse Jackson lived. Written on the ticket was, "Father's Day Massacre Canceled." On July 9, 1974, Marcus Wayne Chenault was indicted by a Fulton County grand jury for the murders of Mrs. Alberta King and Deacon Edward Boykin, for aggravated assault for the shooting of Mrs. Jimmy Mitchell, for carrying a pistol without a license, and for carrying a concealed weapon. Marcus was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to death by electric chair. Dr. Lloyd T. Backus, director of the Law and Psychiatric Service for Grady Hospital, examined Marcus for 7 hours. He was determined to have schizophrenia and declared insane at the time of the murders. Although it was said not to have affected his ability to decipher right from wrong, Dr. Backus' testimony was that Marcus suffered from delusions of grandiosity. His sentence was reduced to life in prison, partially due to the King family opposing the death sentence.
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in, and first and foremost, I do want to say rest in peace to Miss Alberta King, Martin Luther King Jr., and anybody who was in the civil rights movement who put their life on the line lost their life or just contributed anything to pushing it to a point where we could get some type of equality in the country of America at this time. It was several others that we didn't know and didn't see, and we didn't have the history of, who lost their life during this movement. No matter what circumstances were, it was a lot of people we did learn about in school, but this one right here was complete new information for me today. And I had the links in the description where y'all can watch this in full and get the entire context on AP Archive channel. In the beginning, that was an original news interview right after the shooting happened in Atlanta. Then also, after that, 11 Alive did a special on it, and then Comedy Hype did a real good up on it as well. I had a links in the description where y'all can watch those in full. As this today came across my timeline, and I was like, wow, I never knew this, never learned that Martin Luther King's mother was shot and killed in church. I never knew her role in any of this or nothing at all. And I was like, man, I got to come speak on this one time, because I know if I don't know about this, it's some other people who don't know about this. As today marks the 50th year anniversary of this, and this was 6 years after Martin Luther King was killed. Nah, the guy that did it, that y'all saw right there, he was found guilty and everything like that. They said that he went rogue. Basically, he was following black Israelite teachings in Ohio, but he took it to a whole nother level and took things literal and thought that he needed to go take out black reverends in America and things like that. They said that he was pretty much insane, did not get the chair because of the King family. They said, from what Comedy Hype was saying, had pushed against him not being executed and everything like that. And this was just a wild story to me that I had never knew about, man. Shot 2 others, to my understanding, in the church that day as well. Went down there, they welcomed him in with open arms, thinking he was just coming as, coming to get a Bible study, get some teachings and things like that. And he went in there to kill him. Now, in the conversation, you know how these things go with the black leaders, the black speakers. Dick Gregory spoke on it. Jesse Jackson spoke on it as well, that, hey, something ain't right about people getting assassinated in these times. Dick Gregory was like, bro, if y'all believe that a dude can come up there because he shot him right in the head multiple times and he could be able to shoot that precise, and he went way from Ohio and did all this and did all that, you got to be crazy if you think this dude just woke up and decided to do this one day. He calling it like a conspiracy theory. That's what Dick Gregory had to say.
The matter with Jet Magazine. He said, if anybody can believe that a cat can go berserk in Dayton, Ohio and get on a bus with 2 guns and don't shoot nobody until he gets to Atlanta in church, then they're crazy. Do you realize how much aim and how much practice one must have to be able to hit somebody in the head 3 times with a handgun? It's just totally unbelievable. And so I definitely don't rule conspiracy out. It's the same pattern with Sirhan, Lee Harvey Oswald, and James Earl Ray, that every time one of those persons was arrested, they went to his house and found a diary with some other stuff in it. Now,
and others was like, these assassinations are not just random things happening, somebody waking up one day and things of that nature. These things are kind of pushed and planned and put together. In the end, they are saying that he went rogue and lost his mind after getting some of the black Israelite teachers. He took them out of context and went down his own mission and decided to go out and push this violence and things like that. I just had to come speak on it today myself, man, because this was something I never knew. And the older I get, you just get more appreciative in life for when you start realizing, well, dang, this person here to put their life on the line for everybody, for the greater good, not just for themselves. Or this person, then there's other lives that was lost that we don't know about in a full thing like that. And it's like, to see that this was the 50-year anniversary and this was the first time to me, I make sure I wanted to come speak on that and show y'all where y'all could go get all the information at. Look it up, it's all online when you Googling and things like that. This one went under the radar for me. So most definitely rest in peace to everybody who was a part of the civil rights movement, for everybody who put their life on the line, for everybody who wasn't scared, and then certain people that they didn't get notoriety to, and then anybody living in that time period. Not even if you spoke up, even if you didn't give up, you most definitely stood solid and stood firm if you ain't go against your people. And this is just one of these things, because people got to know that, bro, it was only 1964, 1965 That wasn't that long ago that segregation ended. I'm gonna tell you like this, these things gotta be known, the history gotta be documented, so I gotta do it too. Tell me what y'all think. We got more coming, more videos, all that, 1,000 for shit show. Stay on your pivot.